Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should keep saying what? I should keep saying. Keep sayer. Keep sayoski. Keep sayoyu. Keep sayaya. Keep say. Welcome to Global News on Signature Television. I'm Charles Pius. In the headlines, Tinubu departs UK for France as Nigerians lament fuel price hike. Peter tells President Tinubu to reverse sudden fuel price hike. Iranian Parliament Speaker Kalibaf visits Beirut, and Ukraine's Zelensky welcomed by German President. Details in a moment.
Let me shift your phone small. Okay. All right.
President Bola Tinubu has departed the United Kingdom for Paris, France, where he is expected to attend an important engagement after spending over a week in the UK. The senior special assistant on political and order matters to the president, Ibrahim Masari, disclosed this through his X account, said he had the honor of visiting the president at his private residence in the United Kingdom, where they engaged in productive discussion. Masari did not give details of the president's engagements. President Tinubu departed Nigeria on Wednesday, October 2nd, for a 2-week working vacation in the UK as part of his annual leave, despite the pervasive economic hardship Nigerians are facing. Meanwhile, the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has urged President Tinubu to reverse the sudden hike in the pump price of fuel, describing it as insensitive and unfortunate. Posting on X, Obi said the sudden hike in the pump price of fuel would have a negative impact on Nigeria's economic survival. Obi regretted that even when Nigerians continue to groan under extremely difficult economic conditions, largely caused by the federal government's wrong policy choices, the NNPCL decided to once again raise the price of fuel without providing any explanation. He observed that there is neither sound economics nor necessary compassion to justify the incessant increases, which has brought untold hardship to millions of Nigerians. The former Anambra governor said the NNPCL and the regulatory agencies are supposed to be under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria serving as the substantive minister, and wondered who is the regulating the agencies at the moment. Obi wondered why President Tinubu decided to casually inflict such a draconian measure. The All Progressives Congress (APC) has suspended the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Henneken Lobobiri, along with the 2019 Bayelsa governorship candidate David Leon, over alleged anti-party activities. Lobobiri and Leon were suspended along with several other prominent figures, including Commissioner for Power Karim Kumoko, Commissioner for Lands and Survey Perez Bewari, former APC State Chairman Jothand Mamos, NEC ex-official member God Bless Diriwari, and Southern Niger APC youth leader Sabi Morgan. During the announcement in Yenagoa meeting, Nyekenemi, the APC chairman for a Keremo local government area, accused Lobobiri of leading factions and collaborating with the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) following his unsuccessful bids for the APC governorship ticket in 2019. He claimed that Lobobiri and his supporters actively backed Bayelsa Governor Duyo Diri and the PDP in the 2023 elections, receiving appointments and contracts as rewards. Similarly, the APC Southern Niger local government area leadership, led by Ebikazi Befa, announced the suspension of David Leon and 7 others for undermining APC's National Assembly candidate and conspiring with the PDP in the 2023 governorship race. The All Progressives Congress (APC) has criticized Rotimi Amechi, the immediate past Minister of Transportation, for inciting Nigerian youths to protest the current high cost of living in the country. Felix Morka, the party's National Publicity Secretary, in a statement on Friday in Abuja, described Amechi's comments as insensitive and unpatriotic, saying he should be disregarded. There were reports that Amechi, a former speaker and a 2-term governor of Rivers, in a recent interview berated Nigerian youth for not protesting against high cost of living in the country. He said Nigerians were highly perceptive, discerning, and mindful that the current economic discomforts associated with the President Bola Tinubu-led administration is inevitable reforms were transient. He said they were also aware that the discomforts would pale into insignificance in comparison to the enduring transformative dividends which were already beginning to manifest. Moka expressed optimism that Nigerians would not be cajoled into taking back through street violence what they handed to the Tinubu-led administration through the ballot, as Amechi and his tribesmen would wish. Meanwhile, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), led by Debo Olubodada, has appointed Yari Mohammed as the acting national chairman of the party. This follows the rowdy session on Thursday night that led to the division in ranks of the party. According to Debo Ologunagba, the party's national publicity secretary, the appointment, which takes effect, is pursuant to the provisions of the constitution of the PDP as amended in 2017. The appointments came despite the order of the Abuja Federal High Court on Friday restraining the National Executive Committee and Board of Trustees (BOT) of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) from removing Damagom as the acting national chairman. Earlier, the Umar Damagom camp had suspended Debo Olobonaga and a senior advocate of Nigeria, Kamaldeen Ajibade, the national legal advisor of the party. The developments was followed by the suspension of Damagom and National Secretary Senator Samuel Anyanwu. The National Working Committee called on all organs, leaders, critical stakeholders, and members of the party to remain focused at this critical time that arrangements are on towards the party's National Executive Committee meeting already scheduled for Thursday, the 24th of October, 2024. Meanwhile, spokesperson of Nigerian Opposition Lawmakers Coalition, Ikenga Ogochinyere, has said that a court order didn't stop the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) before they sacked the acting national chairman, Ilia Damagon. He said there was no federal or state high court order before the long overdue removal of Damagom as PDP chairman. Recall that Justice Peter Alefu of the Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday rather, restrains the National Executive Committee and Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) from removing Ambassador Umar Damagom as the acting national chairman of the party. But reaction to the developments, Uwochinyere faulted their judgment, saying that court order didn't stop the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) before they sacked the acting national chairman, Ilia Damagom.
Mohammed is in strict compliance with the provision of the party constitution, and the National Working Committee invoking the necessary provision under Article 57 sub 7 and 58 sub 1, which gives the party the powers to look into disciplinary actions against members of the National Executive Committee, that they acted invoking those powers given them under Article 29, where the NWC acted on behalf of the NEC to invoke the provisions of Article 57 and Article 58 by suspending the former disgraced national chairman.
It said that Justice Lefu order in favor of pro-Wike APC-backed a PDP faction came after Damagon has been suspended.
Is one that comes from cost of justice. It's not just the judgment the judge is delivering, but the perception by the ordinary man that justice must be seen to have been done in that judgment. That is the capital. When you debase that, when you destroy that, and then tell people come in any injunction you grant, from the same Federal High Court that gave a rule on political expertise. Now, expertise applications are flying like the missile Israel is firing into Iran. From the Federal High Court. Bam, bam, left, right, and center. When you think they should stop, they continue. And the new CJN have not picked up his phone to call the CJ and say, what is going on with this expertise? Is it that you people cook it overnight or what? On every political issue, they come and then you issue it to them. It's on that line that we are shocked when after the NWC have met, consider the heinous case of anti-party activities against Omar Damago and his gang and suspended them in line with Article.
He insists that Alhaji Yayari Ahmed Mohammed remains the acting chairman while the party awaits the NEC meeting later this month. He, however, urged the court to stay away from internal party affairs.
Thank the public secretary who have been steadfast. What is the offense of our public secretary? He issued a statement that the election in Rivers local government election must be allowed to go on. One big man somewhere saw it as an affront because he is in APC, he's in PDP, he owns the two parties. And they say, oh, the public secretary must be sidelined. What is the offense of the legal advisor? He wrote a letter that the case that if it is successful, will see our own governor removed by people who are no longer lawmakers. He filed to discontinue that suit in the exercise of his constitutional power under the party constitution. The big man feels, oh, the legal advisor should be removed. That is why they attempted the belated attempt to remove them, which failed. So the NWC is now owned. But thank God that these great NWC members has proved to the whole world that this NWC is not owned by anybody. With their courageous decision to
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has announced plans to officially launch its campaign for the upcoming Ondo State governorship elections with a flag of events scheduled for Tuesday, October 15, 2024. This was disclosed in a statement by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, in Abuja. Ologunagba extended an invitation to all party organs, leaders, members, supporters, and the general public to participate in the event, which marks the beginning of what the party expects to be a victorious campaign leading up to the November 16, 2024 governorship elections in Ondo State. He also urged PDP members to remain united in their efforts to secure victory, noting that the people of Ondo State are eager for a PDP-led government. The plight of the girl child took the front burner around the world as Nigeria joined the international community in marking the International Day of the Girl Child. Stakeholders promoting gender equality and women empowerment have said that the girl child represents a central factor in Nigeria's growth and development processes. In this report, Signature TV captures the essence of the day.
International Day for the Girl Child in Recognition. The theme for the year is Girls' Vision for the Future. The emphasis is on listening to the girls and invest in proven solutions, accelerating progress towards a future in which every girl fulfills her potential. And what may be seen as the unusual happened at the Green Chamber on Thursday, when the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, vacated his seat for a 16-year-old gender advocate, Ms. Isabel Anani, who conducted a special session commemorating the International Day of the Girl Child. This is the first time in the history of the House of Representatives that a sitting speaker would vacate his seat to allow a non-member of the House to preside over plenary.
The House joins the global community in commemorating the International Day of the Girl Child. This day highlights the challenges faced by girls around the world, while celebrating their resilience, potential, and crucial role in shaping a better future.
After taking the seat of the presiding officer, the shadow speaker presided over the presentation of a motion by the chairman of the House Committee on Women Affairs and Social Development, Katfilat Obara, on commemoration of the 2024 International Day of the Girl Child.
The House is aware that gender discrimination is a global phenomenon that engulfs many nations of the world due to patriarchy and cultural stereotypes. While other nations have made giant strides in closing the gender gap, Nigeria is still grappling with these issues, starting from access to education, healthcare, and access to basic amenities. Despite Nigeria being a signatory to the Convention of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, Convention on Child's Rights, and many others, like harmful practices like the female genital mutilation, is still being practiced in some parts of the country, which is a direct violation of human rights of women and, of course, the girls.
Adopting the motion, the House resolved to urge the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the National Orientation Agency, alongside other stakeholders, to collaborate with schools, community organizations, and religious institutions to educate the public on dangers of drug abuse, promote a drug-free lifestyle, and make provisions for rehabilitation. Consequently, the Shadow Speaker mandated the House Committees on Women Affairs and Social Development and Basic Education Services to engage the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Federal Ministry of Education, with other stakeholders by organizing workshops, creating awareness campaigns, and monitoring progress to ensure compliance.
I envision a future where every girl, regardless of where she comes from, has an opportunity to flourish, where education isn't seen as a high pedestal privilege, but as an essential tool to equip girls make important decisions that affect them and ultimately the places they come from. According to the United Nations, nearly 1 in 5 girls are still not completing lower secondary school, and nearly 4 in 10 girls are not completing upper secondary school today. As if these numbers aren't concerning enough, they are at a constant risk of harassment and the what-ifs that are associated with violence, which simply should not exist. I want a future where we don't have to combat all the overwhelming experiences of childhood and adolescence alone.
Addressing the House, Ms. Anani, winner of the Girl Takeover Initiative, who has just gained university admission to study engineering, emphasized the need for a future where every girl has an opportunity to flourish, where education isn't seen as a high pedestal privilege, but as an essential tool to equip girls to make important decisions that affect them, and ultimately the places they come from. This year's theme conveys both the need for urgent action and persistent hope, driven by the power of girls' voices and vision for the future. And elsewhere in Abuja, Stakeholders stated to get the best of the girl child, they must be harnessed early, groomed early, and supported early. According to them, accelerating actions to ensure equity for the girl child is hinged on education and foundation that must remain a priority. The aim of the International Day of the Girl Child
And in Enugu, girls from secondary schools across the state converged on Opara Square to mark the Girls' Child's Day. The event was put together by Nkechi Mba, wife of the state's governor, Peter Mba, through her pet project, the Costas Cares Foundation. Correspondent Wunne Walu reports.
To focus attention on the unique challenges, opportunities, and triumphs of girls worldwide with a vision of empowering them to reach their full potentials. The managing director of Coastal Care Foundation, Ego Odigwe, said the wife of the governor is using the medium to address challenges confronting the girl child, especially in the pursuit of their educational career.
Both are in position of authority, the relevant offices, the very relevant ministries, MDAs, to see how to achieve those their vision to bring it to reality. In conformity, of course, with the order of the state government that tomorrow is here. And we can't be talking about tomorrow without talking about the pivotal role of the girl child in making that reality.
Teachers and parents from different local government areas shared their opinion on how to train a girl child.
Create more awareness for the safety of girl child so that they won't be molested or violated, even in school where there are mixed students. There are cases like that of boy, molesting girls. So create more awareness against that because they are equally human.
Educate them. Always we have to have a place in our society now where girls' child are educated from childhood, at least from
because if you go there,
yes.
Some female students spoke on the peculiar circumstances in their families and the society at large.
Girls that find it so hard to share their emotions with people. As they say, a problem shared is a problem solved. So you should share your problems with your parents because you know that they will understand you, especially your mother that she's also a woman, so she can also know how it feels.
Empowering a girl child is like empowering a nation. Like girl child education is like a key to a better tomorrow, better future. So I think girl child should be educated because they convey, they are the people that take care of the family when they grow. They convey the information that was taught to them, the good morals, the education to the children, which the children will also transfer to their own children.
Therefore, the Anambra State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Ifenyua Obinabu, who featured on the breakfast show on Signature TV, spoke of the numerous challenges facing the girl child.
When the economy is harsh and some parents can no longer do what they're supposed to do for the girl child, most of the time, the girl child will be directly or indirectly pressured into living an adult's life. Some of them going into prostitution, some even drop out of school, some get into trouble that they are no longer alive to tell their stories by themselves. Some are being raped, some are being killed by these boys in the country looking for money, quick money here and there. So that's soft targets for these bad boys. And some are being pressured into early marriage. Some drop out of school. Some are being raped on daily basis by bad boys, by drug addicts. And when they get these children, most of the time, like these bad people in the society, even robbing. They do a whole lot of things. That's soft targets to all these bad people.
Obinabo disclosed that adequate measures have been put in place to take care of any girl child in the state who is a victim of molestation, harassment, or any other form of abuse. In Enugu, Ugon.
United Nations Children's Fund (UNICEF) says 75% of the new HIV infections among adolescents globally occurred in girls. Chief of the UNICEF Field Office for Southwest Nigeria, Celine Safosire, stated this in a statement on Friday to commemorate the International Day of the Girl Child. She noted that many girls were confronted by extreme challenges that deny them their rights, restrict their choices, and limits their future, insisting that being a girl should not be determined that what one can do, where one can go, and who she should become. She also said that almost double the number of adolescent girls, 1 in 4 compared to boys, were not in any form of education, employment, or training, while nearly 1 in 4 partnered or married adolescent girls had experienced sexual or physical abuse. Lafossiere, however, said that the findings from UNICEF analysis revealed that girls were not only courageous in the face of challenges, but hopeful for the future. Still to come, immigration releases Soare's passport after airport drama. Federal government permits marketers to lift fuels directly from Dangote refinery. These and more after the break. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature Television. Officers of the Presidential Task Force Against Economic Sabotage and Oil Vandalism, in partnership with the Joint Task Force of Operation Clean and Healthy Anambra Brigade, have raided an illegal wine manufacturing facility in Onitsha. The officers who stormed the Mbo area in Anambra State on Friday confiscated and sealed off the local manufacturing company, which specializes in the alleged mass production of imitation of toxic or exotic wines and other drinks in the state. The wine company is alleged to have over the years produced and distributed several types of fake and unapproved wines in large quantities and distributed for general consumption. 7 suspects were arrested at the facility located on Onowu Street off Enugu-Onitsha Expressway, Onitsha. During the raid, over 2,000 cartons of wines and already packaged drinks were seized, along with unhealthy equipment such as mixing tanks, improvised filters, various packaging materials, and bags of empty bottles. Meanwhile, the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure says it is setting its sights on becoming Nigeria's leading innovation and technology transfer agency. The Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the agency, Khalil Halilu, expressed his commitment to transforming Naseni's role in the nation's technological landscape. Halilu said that under his leadership, Naseni has launched 36 market-ready products, including solar irrigation pumps, electric vehicles, and smart home systems. Halilu emphasized the importance of collaboration in Naseni's recent successes and underscored their partnerships with strategic allies and original equipment manufacturers that have been pivotal in product development. He added that his ambition is not only to enhance Naseni's profile, but also to ensure that its innovations contribute significantly to Nigeria's economic growth. Rights activist Moyele Sowore has disclosed that his passport has been returned to him by officials of the Nigerian Immigration Service. In a tweet via his X handle on Friday evening, the activist noted that this happened after an initial disclosure that his passport was seized. Before now, Sowore stated that he was being subjected to harassment and violation of his rights by the NIS. Sowore, the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress in the 2023 elections, tweeted, "The Nigerian Immigration Service continues to subject him to unwarranted harassment and abuse, violating his rights and repeatedly." That was not the first time the former presidential candidate has had his passport withheld by Nigerian authorities. In February 2024, the Federal High Court in Abuja struck out the treasonable felony charges filed by the federal government against Owerri and Olawale Bakari. The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badar, has commended the Joint Task Force South-South Operation Delta Safe for the protection of oil facilities in the Niger Delta. He gave the commendation during his maiden operational visit to the JTF headquarters in Ibogene, Yenagoa, to assess the level of success the troops of JTF has recorded in the past months. He said that the troops had done very well, as they had deactivated 1,129 illegal refineries from February till date, which he described as a very big achievement. He said the troops from destruction of over 1,115 storage facilities, 750 large wooden boats, arrest and appropriate handling of 265 vehicles conveying crude oil and IR products was commendable. The minister lauded the troops for arresting 894 suspects in connection with various crimes and the destruction of about 14 militant sea robbers camps. And elsewhere, in order to ensure adequate security of lives and property in rural communities, Ebonyi State Police Command has interfaced with stakeholders from different local government areas of the state. The stakeholders' engagement was part of activities for Nigerian Police Force Servicom Ebonyi State Command Customer Service Week celebrations 2024. As part of measures to tackle increasing spate of restiveness, extrajudicial activities, arson, destruction of properties, and mob actions that sometimes leads to death, the meeting was convened by the Commissioner for Police Ebonyi State, Commander Antonia Uchianya, during his which she sought partnership with stakeholders from various communities in the state to nip the menace on the bud.
All are acknowledged, all of us, the strength of youth, restiveness that we are witnessing in our communities, extrajudicial activities being carried out in our communities. For instance, our youth take laws into their hands, like burning and destroying properties. Also to solicit your partnership and collaboration in ensuring that our various communities are secure.
While lending their voices to the issue, members of management of Ebonyi State Police Command decried a situation where some stakeholders encourage perpetrators of crimes in their communities. They urge stakeholders not to take laws into their hands, but to work in synergy with the police to maintain law and order.
Representatives of the various areas should be able to liaise with their youth and tell them in common sense what their responsibilities are towards security and how peace should be ensured in their area.
Among the stakeholders who attended the meeting were local government chairmen, traditional rulers, town union executives, and youth leaders who highlighted some of the security challenges in their communities. The stakeholders' engagement, which is coming on the heels of the Nigerian Police Force Servicom Ebonyi State Command Customer Service Week celebration 2024, was also an avenue to sensitize attendees on the activities of Servicom by the officer in charge of Servicom, DCP Rekwene Okmabi Echo. Meanwhile, the Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC has called for collaboration with stakeholders on effective traffic management to reduce road crashes and promote safety on Nigerian roads. Speaking to newsmen after the inauguration of a National Road Safety Advisory Council, NASARC, at the Presidential Villa Abuja, FRSC Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed emphasized the need for collective action. The NASARC includes 6 governors, key ministers, and other stakeholders with a focus on reducing road fatalities across the country. Mohammed said that the Corps had embarked on campaigns in motor parks and public places to promote a safe driving culture across the country. He said that there was needs for commuters and transport unions to partner in preventing road crashes and ensuring safer travels at all costs. According to him, road crashes have declined, but the numbers remain unacceptably high. Therefore, commuters and transport unions must redouble their awareness and prevention initiatives. The president of the Nigerian Senate, Godswill Akpabio, says he believes that the market forces would soon stabilize the price of fuel. Akpabio, who made the declaration during a media briefing explaining that the deregulation may not necessarily lead to a significant increase in fuel price, but a necessary step to redirect funds to more critical areas. Akpabio, who spoke in response to a question on the recent fuel prices by the National Petroleum Corporation Limited, stated that the removal of subsidy would mean that Nigerians would need to tighten their belts. He, however, believes that an increase in product availability would eventually lead to lower prices.
I say that brighter days are ahead. It simply means that all the wrongs that kept the country where it is will be corrected. If you look at, I haven't actually assessed what is happening in terms of pump price increase, but it's not pump price increase, it's deregulation. If you are taking away the continuous subsidy, and then you want people to pay for the actual price of what we consume, it means if you have 5 cars, you will now use 1 or 2. You understand? It simply means that we are going to stop the idea of subsidy in order to make sure that the monies are used for other things. So I don't expect any increase in pump price. I will expect the market forces to determine. And I will expect that now that the NNPCL is no longer going to bring petroleum products into the country, it means those who have the capacity will bring. And you know, the more the product is available, the cheaper the price. So at the beginning, it might look as if there is increase, but I believe strongly that in the next, with the increase, with the production from Dangote and then the other refineries when they become functional, and the fact that it is now open to all to bring in good products into the country, I can assure you that we may not even see pump prices. So please let's not dwell on it.
The federal government has granted permission to petroleum marketers to lift petrol directly from the Dangote refinery without going through the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, confirming speculation that the NNPC will no longer be the sole off-taker of the Dangote fuel. In a statement in Abuja, the Minister of Finance and Chairman of the Naira Crude Sale Implementation Committee, Wale Edun, gave an update on the takeoff of crude purchase and product sales in Naira transactions. The Implementation Committee, which held its second post-commencement review meeting on October 10th to evaluate the progress of crude oil and refined product sales in the Naira initiative, the committee was pleased to support or to report a successful transition of operations in line with the directive issued by the Federal Executive Council. This directive, he said, has established a robust framework for local production and distribution of crude oil and refined products for local consumption in Naira. The minister noted that with the mechanism now in full operation, along with the commencement of a local production, the country is well positioned to transition to a fully deregulated market for all petroleum products. Edun encouraged the marketers to initiate direct purchases from refineries on mutually negotiated commercial terms, which will promote competition and improve market efficiency. Meanwhile, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Soho, has returned the case between the federal government and Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, back to Justice Binta Nyako. Justice Nyako had on September 24th recused herself from the trial of the detained Kanu following oral application by the IPOB leader and his lawyer, Aloy Ejimako. Justice Soho's decision was said to be premised on the condition that Kanu's request must be formally presented before the court through a motion on notice, stating reasons why he did not want to stand trial before Nyako. He will thereafter duly serve the federal government through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice a copy of the motion for the prosecution's response. Justice Ahmed Mohammed and Justice Soho had presided over Kanu's trial before it was assigned to Justice Nyako following the defendant's rejections of the two judges. And elsewhere, still on judicial matters, a federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a fresh bail application filed by the detained Binance Holdings Limited's executive, Tigran Gambrian. Justice Emeka Nwite, in a ruling, dismissed the application of the ground that it constituted an abuse of court process. Justice Nwite held that Gabriel's requests cannot be granted when he was still challenging the earlier bail ruling at the Court of Appeal. The judge, who stressed that the defendant failed to withdraw his pending appeal against the earlier ruling on his bail application before filing another motion, said such an act amounted to an abuse of court process. He further held that Gambrian had not shown to the court that the Nigerian Correctional Service does not have the enough capacity or facility to take care of his ill health. The judge, however, ordered the Correctional Service to refer Gambrian to any standard hospital in Abuja for a period of 2 to 3 days, and subsequently adjourned the matter until 18th October 2020, on November 22nd and November 25th for continuation of trial. Still to come, Blinken reaffirms U.S. commitment to ASEAN amid deepening geopolitical conflicts. Russia extends detention of U.S. citizen Tata for 1 month. Do stay with us. This ACD awful. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature Television. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammed Bakr Kalibaf met with Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati in Beirut on Saturday. Kalibaf is expected to give a press briefing after meeting with Lebanese Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri, followed by a visit to the Iranian embassy in Lebanon and holding discussions with MPs and party leaders. The Middle East remains on high alert for further escalation, awaiting Israel's response to an Iranian missile barrage on October 1st. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah militants erupted 1 year ago when the Iranian-backed group began launching rockets at northern Israel in support of Hamas at the start of Gaza war. Meanwhile, Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati on Saturday met members of a delegation of the Palestinian Fatah movement in Egypt's new administrative capital. The Fatah delegation included the group's second-in-command, Mahmoud al-Lola, senior official Azam al-Ahmed, and head of the Palestine Liberation Organization's Palestinian National Council, Rahi Fatwa. Saturday's meeting comes after the delegation met leaders from Islamist group Hamas to discuss plans for cooperation after the war in Gaza in a new round of talks in Cairo on Wednesday, October 9th. The talks are the first since the two groups met in China in July and agreed steps to form a Palestinian unity government for Gaza and the occupied West Bank. They are also part of long-running and previously unsuccessful efforts to heal a schism that's hardened when Hamas seized control of Gaza in a brief conflict with Fatah in 2007. The issue of the administration of Gaza after the end of the year-old Israel-Hamas war is one of the thorniest issues facing the Palestinians. China said on Saturday that it will significantly increase government's debt issuance to offer subsidies to people with low incomes, support the property market, and replenish state banks' capital as it pushes to revive sputtering economic growth. Without providing details on the size of the fiscal stimulus being prepared, Finance Minister Lan Foan told the news conference there will be more counter-cyclical measures this year. Lan said Beijing will support local governments to resolve their debt issues, adding that they will have a combined 2.3 trillion yuan, about $325 billion, to spend in the last 3 months of this year, including debt, quotas, and unused funds. Low wages, high youth unemployment, and a feeble social safety nets mean China's household spending is less than 40% of annual economic output, some 20 percentage points below the global average. Investment, by comparison, is 20 points above. the world's second largest economy faces strong deflationary measures due to a sharp property market downturn and failed consumer confidence, which have exposed its over-reliance on exports in an increasingly tense global trade environment. A wide range of economic data in recent months has missed forecasts, raising concerns among economists and investors that the government's roughly 5% growth target this year was at risk, and that a longer-term structural slowdown or shutdown could be in play. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump touted his plan to exempt tips and overtime payments from taxes to an audience in Reno, Nevada on Friday. Proposals to exempt tips income from federal taxes have emerged as Kamala Harris and Trump use competing economic proposals in areas like tariffs and taxes to vie for the votes of different constituencies. A different strategy Trump has since extended to include a tax exemption for overtime pay. Trump also took aim at CBS News program 60 Minutes, accusing the show of biased reporting in favor of Harris and calling for it to be taken off the air. In his speech, Trump also commented on hurricane relief for states impacted, like North Carolina, saying those impacted or affected by the storm need better help from the federal government and Vice President Kamala Harris.
Actually a great one. Mike Wallace, the toughest of them all, he gave me a great one. But she was interviewed. Her answers were so bad that they put other answers in. They don't do that for me. You know, we're just the opposite. Her answers, they take it away and put new answers in. My answers, they just cut them up. So that instead of 4 sentences that are perfect, it's 1 sentence that proceeds back and all of a sudden, I used to say to him, why did you cut the hell out of my paragraph? You know, I do the weave, right? Always a weave, right? And always end up in the right location. But I said, why did you do that 60 Minutes? And remember I had with Leslie Saul a big fight. Because she said, the laptop from hell came from Russia. And I said, Leslie, it came from the bedroom of Hunter Biden. It didn't come. And then I proved to be right, and I'm still waiting for them to apologize. But I'll tell you, what they did with her, I believe, is the biggest scandal in broadcast history. I do. If that were me right now, I probably wouldn't be allowed to speak. 60 Minutes should be taken off the air for what they've done.
Visitors gathered at the Hiroshima's Memorial Peace Park on Saturday to commemorate the city's devastation by an atomic bombing cheered the award of the Nobel Prize, or Peace Prize, to Japanese organization Nihon Hindankyo. The group, led by victims of the bombing, known in Japanese as Hibakusha, was the second Japanese winner of the prize in its 123-year history. The Norwegian Nobel Committee said in its citation that Nihon Hindankyo was receiving the Peace Prize for its efforts to achieve a world free of nuclear weapons and for demonstrating through witness testimony that nuclear weapons must never be used again. Japan is best placed to stop it. As Japanese, we have to make sure that it does not happen again, students Yui Torisawa says. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky was welcomed by German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier ahead of signing a city's Golden Guest Book. The meeting took place shortly after German Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced a 1.4 billion euros, that's around $1.53 billion military aid package for Ukraine by the end of 2024 during a joint press conference. Scholz told Zelensky the package was a signal to Russia that the West would not stop supporting Kyiv. Zelensky has been meeting allies in Europe this week to present a victory plan to end the war, while also pressing to use long-range weapons that can strike deeper into Russian territory. The details of his plan have not been divulged publicly. A U.S. official has previously described it as a repackaged request for more weapons and a lifting of restrictions on the use of long-range missiles. Germany is Ukraine's second biggest donor of military aid, but Scholz has balked at the equipping Ukraine with long-range Tyrus missiles and made no mention of them in his remarks. Presidents of European countries in the Ariolos group met in Poland on Friday, with host Poland's President Andrzej Duda saying leaders' discussions revolved around helping Ukraine fend off Russia's invasion and progress towards European Union membership. Slovakia's Peter Pellegrini and Bulgaria's Rumen Radev said European countries had to scale up investment in their own defense, regardless of the outcome of the U.S. presidential election on November 5th. Latvian President Edgars Rinkēvičs said Europe should continue supporting Ukraine and also remove any limitations imposed on Ukraine of weapons provided by its allies. Earlier on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held talks with NATO's chiefs to discuss whether Ukraine could use Western missiles against targets in Russia.
Place here. It remains to be crucial for Europe's security. The transatlantic bond with the US is the spine of Europe's long-term hard security. But no matter whether Mr. Trump or Madam Harris wins the elections in November, the urgency to take much more care of our own security can be counted in decades rather than years.
And we need to embrace the reality that we need to invest much more in our security. And Poland here is leading by example, investing a huge percentage of its GDP to guarantee the security not just of Poland, to contribute to the overall security of the European Union. And
we must continue supporting Ukraine with weapons, with economic and financial aid, and of course we need also to remove any limitations on Ukraine regarding the usage of weapons.
Ukraine's presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak said on Friday that Nobel Peace Prize awarded to Japanese organization that bore witness to nuclear horror sends an informal warning to the Russian Federation. Be careful, otherwise you personally will face serious consequences, Podolyak said, referring to Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly warned the West of potential nuclear consequences since Russia's 2022 full-scale invasion of Ukraine. He declared last month that Russia could use nuclear weapons if it was struck with conventional missiles, and that Moscow would consider any assault on it supported by a nuclear power to be a joint attack. Without naming specific countries, Georgian Watney Fridays, chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, warned that nuclear nations should not contemplate using atomic weapons. Meanwhile, a Russian court has extended for 1 month the pre-trial detention of a U.S. citizen, Joseph Tata, who faces up to 5 years in prison over charges of assaulting a police officer. Tata was first detained in August and jailed for 15 days for petty hooliganism after he was alleged to have abused staff at a Moscow hotel, something he denied. The Interfax news agency said Tata subsequently assaulted a police officer, leading to a fresh criminal case. He denied any guilt. Meshkansky District Court extended Tata's detention for 1 month until November 14th, the press service of the Moscow court said on Friday. In September, Interfax cited his lawyer as saying that Tata had entered Russia with the purpose of obtaining political asylum in the Russian Federation in connection with persecution by competent relevant authorities in the United States. His ascension on the hooliganism charge had interrupted his efforts to seek asylum, Interfax cited the lawyer as saying. Russia's Vladimir Putin has held talks with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian in Turkmenistan, where the two leaders hailed their countries' growing economic ties and similar views on world affairs, an alliance viewed with concern by the U.S. At odds with Washington and the European Union over Russia's war in Ukraine, Putin's keen to deepen ties with what he calls the Global East and Global South. Putin, whose country is hosting a summit of BRICS nations in Kazan on October 22nd to 24th, invited Pezeshkian to come to Russia on an official visit, a proposal the Iranian leader accepted according to Russia's state RIA news agency. Pezeshkian last month committed his country to deeper ties with Russia to counter Western sanctions. The two countries say they are close to signing a strategic partnership agreement something Pezeshkian said on Friday he hoped could be finalized at the BRICS summit in Russia later this month. And that's the news this hour. Many thanks for watching. Charles Pius is my name. Good afternoon. See you later. And that's the news this hour. My name is Charles Pius. Good afternoon. See you later. Thanks for watching. Thank you.